Ugh. Why can't we just leave? She asked under her breath. And what do you think? It's all fine? Well, what's the problem? Well, we spent the whole night here together. And it's obvious what they'd assume, considering I'd taken the precaution of closing the door. So? What do you mean, so? I tiredly sighed. Just trust me. I know that it doesn't matter to you, but it does to me. Okay, fine, we'll keep hiding here, agreed Yolana resentfully. I was prepared to wait for a long time if necessary, but barely a couple of minutes later the front door opened and somebody came in. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Morning. It was Slavia. I just wanted to ask if you happen to have any sticky tape. We do. Somewhere, replied Shirk thoughtfully. Take a look in the back room. These words gave me goosebumps, and I grabbed the door handle in a stranglehold. Slavia approached the door from the opposite side and tried to pull it open, but I was straining against the door with all my strength. It's locked. It can't be. We never locked that room. Yeah, well, whatever. They're pretty much the same person. Let me try. Shirk yanked the door handle, but nothing happened, although it took a lot of effort for me to hold it steady. It's stuck. Give me a hand here. In a few moments they were trying to open the door together with electronics. I grasped the handle as if my whole life was depending on it. But regardless, this was a short struggle. My hands quickly gave out and I let go. The door slammed open and the bright sunlight blinded me, so I couldn't see the startled faces of Shirk, Electronic, and Slavia for the first few seconds. Good morning. Morning. Yolana was standing behind me so that I couldn't see her, but I could feel the embarrassment in her voice. And what are you doing here? Asked Shirk, almost as if he wasn't surprised. Well, to tell you the truth, we were watching a movie. Yolana brought a tape, and you have a VCR here. Shirk distrustfully stared into the depths of the back room. I gave Yolana a nudge in the side until she got the message and displayed the tape. And what's that movie? A barely visible grin crossed Electronic's face. Just a regular film, a thriller, the latest thriller. Then I imagined what he and the others were thinking right now, and I was overwhelmed with rage. If you think nothing like that. Huh? Oh, see these kind of options? You never click those. Never. It's unexcusable. Nobody's accusing you of anything, said Slavia without looking at me. At least there's one sensible person among all present here. Yet, she added under her breath. What? Everything was exactly as he told you. Yolana joined the conversation. You were just watching a film and then felt sleepy. It was so late. We didn't think anything. Just a stupid situation. Come on, enough. Electronic tried to put it off with a jest. I think Olga will be the judge here, Slavia said in a cool voice. Hey, wait. Why take this to the camp leader? Who else? But you see, we're telling the truth. I'm not the one to judge. Damn it, then who? You've seen everything with your own eyes. That's for the camp leader to decide. She decides what you've seen with your eyes? Slavia said quietly and turned to go. Well, fuck you, Slavia. Just wait. I appeared before the door in a single bound and blocked her way. Listen. This is none of my business. Then stay out of it. Slavia was trying to avoid my gaze. Seems like she's also uncomfortable with the situation. I'm just obligated to... Whom are you obligated to? Why do you need to do this? Because... She was unable to find the words to finish. So you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to tell anyone anything. No? She said nervously, but then raised her head and gave me an intense gaze. I'm sorry, Semyon. Just leave her. Let her go. I turned my head to Lana. This fraction of a second was enough for Slavia to slip out of the clubhouse. Wait, just wait, I yelled at her as she ran, but it had no effect. Pursuing Slavia in a futile attempt to prevent her from going to the camp leader made no sense. If she intends to, I can't exactly tie her up. She can't prove anything anyway. Yolana chuckled. Who cares whether she can prove anything or not? Don't you understand your position in all this? In any situation, if you're involved in your guilt is a foregone conclusion. Moreover, in a case like this... Well, we are responsible together then. She smirked trickily. Exactly. I left the building and sat on the stairs. Well, we will be on your side, just in case. Right, Shurik?
I think so. I don't clearly understand what happened here, but presumably nothing that worrying.
Okay, we're going for breakfast. Good men, good men. Continue working on your kitten sex bot. Soon we lost sight of them.
Let's go and eat as well.
Lana said cheerfully. I'm surprised at no point in this game they just have you eat with Electronic and Shurik. Food is all you think about.
Why bother crying? Will it change?
She was right about that, at least. We just have to wait for the camp leader's decision. Let's just go. We headed to the canteen. All the camp had gathered for breakfast except Olga and Slavia. Might be for the best, I guess.
What are you thinking about?
Lana asked me cheerfully when we took our food and sat. Same thing.
Come on, stop worrying about nothing.
Maybe it's nothing for you. Well, really, what was particularly bad about that? Every situation can be interpreted from different angles, and especially if you have a reason.
Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
You know, our camp leader, she's a bit eccentric.
Well, maybe so, but we didn't do anything like that, anything at all.
I hope she believes that, too. My relationship with Lana had improved dramatically lately. At first, I only saw her as a naughty, ill-mannered child, but now I started to see the good sides of her character. Although there weren't too many. And now, just when everything was starting to work out, a hard conversation with the camp leader loomed ahead. Maybe I just dreamt everything that happened, and Slavia's reaction this morning was just caused by surprise. Enjoying your meal? Olga was hanging over me. She looked at me menacingly. Terrible camp leader. All you do is make assumptions. You jackass.
Yes.
Would you mind explaining your behavior? Mind explaining what? Well, for example, how you happened to be in the Cybernetics Club utility room. Where did you get the key? What were you doing there? I recalled the circumstances in which I obtained this cursed key. I should speak to Electronic about that. Slavia told you our version.
We were watching a film.
Lana claimed seriously. The whole night? The camp leader asked sarcastically.
Then I just fell asleep and Semyon stayed with me.
And so there was no chance for you to go to your cabins?
Not even a tiny one.
And what are you going to say? Well, it sounds really stupid, but she's right. You expect me to believe that? Well, you believe Slavia in a complete stranger. Yeah, biased. Well, it's the truth. I can't really accuse you of anything. The camp leader started slowly. But on the other hand, the entire situation is beyond normal. Pioneers must never behave this way. And there are too many inconsistencies in your story. We get it, I agreed fantastically. I will do the following. Lana, you are on detention. You will be confined to your cabin, and I will decide what to do with you later. I looked at Lana attentively. Contrary to my expectations, she didn't look upset. Clearly, I do not think it is your fault, to be fair.
Great. You know where to find me in case you need me.
She stood up instantly and headed to the exit. Olga didn't try to stop her. There's always way too much trouble with her. And she got you into all this. I don't really get what she got me into. Olga is a very biased person. And you seem to be too harsh on her. Show me another pioneer like her. The camp leader laughed. When she receives detentions for misbehaving, that's another story. But here, actually, I don't really understand what was indeed going on. But my duty is to look after your moral character. And this situation is suspicious. Highly suspicious. And how long are you going to keep her imprisoned? I don't know. Olga pondered for some time. Today is departure. But in these circumstances? What departure? I jumped at the word. The term is ending today. This is the last day. What? It was the only response I could squeeze out. The last day meaning I'll finally be able to leave this damn camp. Maybe it's time for my suffering to end, and I'll get back to my ordinary reality. But why so suddenly? Suddenly for who? I talked about it in the lineup. She has a point. At the lineups I was usually sleeping or looking around, and didn't really listen to the announcements. And at what time? At about 5 o'clock. Don't forget to get ready. Hardly have anything to pack. She stood up, took a tray, and was going to leave. So what's going to happen to Lana? I don't know yet, I told you. She will probably leave later. How's that? Not with everyone? Well, yes. Is that normal? I was truly surprised. What's wrong with it? I don't know what's wrong, but it's quite strange for sure. Well, I still have work to do. I dug aimlessly at my porridge, which had gone cold long ago. Departure. The possibility of getting out of here. But on the other hand, Lana. I myself felt guilty before her. In the end, she was penalized, while I, at the same time, wasn't. Because fucking Olga's biased! It's not fair. No, it's not like I wanted to share her misery, but I don't think it's fair that she sits there locked up. Well, there is still some time before leaving. It should be quite enough to make the situation clear. First, I decided to talk to Slavia. Hope she has calmed down. I'd gotten used to finding Slavia at the square, so I went there without any doubts. Why exactly there? Because in this camp, I predominantly met her here. But there wasn't a single soul near Jinda's Haven. I stood there for a while, looking at the monument that headed to the library. It makes sense that Virginia would know where her neighbor is right now. After knocking at the door, recalling my previous experience, this was not a useless mannerism, I went in. Virginia distracted herself from her book and looked closely at me. What do you want? What's wrong? Why do you react like that? Can't even come in? What? You came here for no reason? I doubt you wanted to read something. Well, no. The classics of Marxist-Leninism weren't my favorite literature. I wanted to know where Slavia is. Why do you want to know? She said that as she was sure that the conversation is over, and thus she proceeded with her reading. Well, since I'm asking, clearly I need to know. Should be on the pier. Virginia answered indifferently. Thanks. Learning what I wanted to know, I hurried out of the stronghold of malice. Yes, Virginia was a tough spirit. At least, I had issues understanding her. On the pier, some pioneers were pulling boats into the docks, while others were running around with oars or ropes. After looking closely, I noticed Slavia, who sat quite far away near the water. Cleaning up? I asked the most natural question that came to mind. Yep. She answered without turning. Listen, I want to talk about you, Lana. Well, yeah. Honestly speaking, I had no idea what to talk about. Slavia found us in the storage room, got it wrong, and told everything to the camp leader. Now it's not her concern anymore if you think about it. On the other hand, it would be a waste of time to talk to Olga now. Maybe I just subconsciously wanted to understand Slavia's reasoning, to be able to absolve her somehow. So, what did you want to say? Well, Lana got punished. Maybe she won't even leave with us. No wonder. I just wanted to explain to you that nothing special happened there. Frankly speaking, I don't know. I just had to report everything, except our side of the story, obviously, since Olga still had to ask. So you did. Did it leave anyone better off? I mumbled to myself. Of course I'm not sure that it was right, she said confusedly. Well, what's done is done. Do you think it's possible to get Lana freed from house arrest? You're worrying about her so much. Slavia finally looked at me and smiled. Not about her. About justice. While I was a bit confused, I found the right answer. Well, you know our camp leader. I do, that's for sure. Just wait, she'll calm down eventually. Yeah, I guess that was the best decision. You're right. I stood near her in silence for some time. Slavia didn't seem eager to keep talking. Still, there was some sense of incompleteness, but faced with the idea of the uncomfortable situation lasting for several hours, I decided not to be a burden. Okay, I'll go then. See ya. She smiled. In the middle of the square, I stopped to think. There's still a lot of time till departure, and I have nothing to do. Just yesterday, when it seemed like I was stuck here forever and had lots of time, even though there was actually very little, I felt a need to think and act faster. But now that I've got only 5 hours left till I leave this camp forever, I have not the slightest idea on how to spend them. I decided to visit Lana. After all, even if she isn't allowed to leave her cabin, That doesn't mean I cannot pay her a visit. I knocked gently.
You're not welcome here.
An angry voice sounded from behind the door. I pulled on the handle and entered. Hail, prisoner!
Oh, it's you.
That poster on the left wall seems similar to an anime clip I saw used in, an AMV. Huh. Well, I guess it would make sense if the, creator of this visual novel was a fan of anime. They also seem to be somewhat into Vocaloid since they have Miku.
Oh, it's you.
Lana said disappointedly. And what, am I the only one who isn't welcome here? I tried to smile.
Why did you come?
Well, I thought that you'd be bored here all alone.
I'm fine.
Where's Alyssa?
As you can see, he's not here.
Come on, why are you so angry? In the morning you were in a much better mood.
Angry? Me?
Not me, that's for sure.
You have nothing else to do, so you came here, right?
Yeah, my bad. I sighed theatrically and hung my head.
Well, sit down then.
I sat on the opposite bed.
So, tell me something.
Let's come up with a way to prove Olga that we did nothing wrong.
I did nothing wrong.
Lana corrected me.
You seem to have nothing to do with it.
Okay, let it be.
But why?
A tricky question. Feels like we've swapped our roles. I was suggesting a stupid plan while she was the voice of reason. Well, because we did nothing wrong.
What's the matter with you anyhow? I'll just stay grounded for a couple of hours and that's it. We have to depart soon anyway.
She flopped down on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Well, sure, but I tried hard to cheer her up, but it looks like I haven't succeeded so far. Want to do something, maybe?
It's lunchtime already.
I took a glance at my watch. Yeah, right.
Here's a job for you. Since I mustn't go out, go and bring me something to eat.
Sir, yes, sir. I saluted her and hurried out of the cabin. Recently, I started to think that finally something has clicked on Yolana's mind. Maybe the punishment had an effect on her, or possibly it was something else. And my attitude towards her has changed. Her wrongdoings used to make me feel nothing but irritation, but now there was also understanding and sort of sympathy. After all, I used to be a child too. Perhaps if one explained to her what is right and what is not, she might be able to avoid many mistakes. In the canteen, I had an argument with the cook who refused to give me a double serving. However, everyone in the camp already knew about Yolana being grounded, so eventually my powers of persuasion won out over dietary standards. Soon, I was sitting in Yolana's cabin and tucking away meatballs with potatoes. Just like a last meal.
What are you talking about?
Well, every death row prisoner has a right to make a last wish. Thus, my last wish would be lunch like this. To my surprise, the food was really delicious. What would your wish be?
Well, to not be executed, of course.
She laughed. You can't.
Why? You can wish for anything.
Well, you can, but within certain limits.
That means it's not anything.
Well, okay then. It's not anything.
Then that's not interesting.
Well, I believe being a death row prisoner is hardly meant to be interesting in the first place. I grinned through my teeth.
I wouldn't know. Never went through that experience.
But if you think about it, that's almost my situation. This camp is my cell. For several more hours, I'll stay under arrest and then I'll face uncertainty, just like I would after death. The only difference is that I had more options. If I wanted to attend lineup, then I'd do so. If not, then I didn't. What are you going to do next?
What do you mean?
Well, after the camp. She looked at me in surprise.
Back to school, of course.
Yes, only for me leaving this place is kind of like crossing a barrier, a frontier, to the end of something and the beginning of something else. A week ago, it was terribly hard for me to realize that I'd been pulled out of my usual world and brought to God knows where. But then I got used to it. And here we go again. Basically, the only difference is that now I face not a sense of fear and horror, but a blunt, sinking feeling of uncertainty.
And you?
Well, I'll find something to do.
Something?
She burst into peals of laughter. Yeah, what's the matter?
You should have gone to a circus school to be a clown.
Why?
One can't help laughing when looking at you.
But why?
You always act like some kind of martyr. A new messiah for all the Russians.
I'm gonna end the part there. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace!